Welcome back, third grade. This is episode 2 for lesson 13 in TCI. And I hope that you've read the introduction of this chapter. And today I want to talk to you about 3 jobs that you will be reading about in this next section. So we are going to talk about the city clerk today. We're going to talk about the Parks and Recreation Department. And we are going to talk about the public library. So let's go ahead and start with the city clerk and what the job description is. If you are the city clerk, what are you responsible for? What do you have to do? So the city clerk has a big job. So job number 1 is that during city council meetings, okay, because towns have council meetings, the city clerk is responsible for taking the notes during that meeting, because if people can't attend the meeting but want to know what's going on, the city clerk takes notes and then he posts those notes for the rest of the community to see what exactly happened at that meeting in case they couldn't attend. Another thing that the city clerk is responsible for is helping with the city's elections. So when there's a voting day, the city clerk is responsible to make sure different things are taken care of for elections. They also are responsible for keeping the records for the community. For example, they are responsible for kind of keeping the birth certificates and death certificates for the people in the community. So let's say, for example, you needed a copy of your birth certificate. Maybe you need it for a passport or something like that. And your mom or your dad or your grandma, they've looked all over the house and they cannot find your birth certificate. Yikes, what do? So you would contact the city clerk and they would help you get a copy of your birth certificate for you to have. Now, another thing that the city clerk is responsible for is giving out permits to build onto your house. So, for example, let's say your family decides they want a bigger porch or a bigger garage or a bigger kitchen. They can't just start the work right away. They have to get a special permit from the town to do that. And the person that you would go to for that is the city clerk. So you can read all of these things in a little more detail about the city clerk in lesson 13. The next department that we are going to talk about is the Parks and Recreation Department. And recreation means having fun, you're recreating, typically outdoors. So the Parks and Recreation Department, they are in charge of the parks in the town, the playgrounds, the playground equipment, a lot of times the city pool, organizing fun events for the town. So for example, if I thought, I want to go to the park and let's just pretend that I have a little baby. And I noticed there are no baby swings there. There's no baby equipment there for my baby. Who would I contact? I would contact the Parks and Recreation Department and possibly say to them, hey, I live in the town. There's lots of babies in the town. Is it possible that we could get a baby swing or a baby area for our parks? So they take care of the parks and recreation of our community. The last department we're going to talk about in this episode is the public library. So stop and think about a time that you have visited the public library. I know that my family and I go when it's open a lot. We go to check out books, of course. When my kids were a little smaller, we attended a lot of story times at the public library. When you're there, you may see people using the computers. A lot of times people don't have internet at home, or they don't have a printer at home, and people go and use the facility at the library to get all of this stuff taken care of. So the library offers more than just going to check out a book. Here is a little library card, one of our library cards that we take with us. So as you know, when you go to a library, if you want to check out a book, You just give them the card, they scan the back, and you get to take it typically for 2 weeks. And then you have to return it on time. So you might be saying to yourself, how does the library get all of these books for us to borrow? And how do the workers get paid, like the Parks and Rec workers and the city clerk and the librarians? Like, how do they get paid? Because I know, like, when I go to the library, I don't pay them for a book. I don't pay them for story time. Well, there are things called taxes that grown-ups pay, okay? And that tax money is used for these services. So you don't have to pay for these things. When you leave the library, you leave story time, you don't give Miss Jen $5, right? She's getting paid through the tax money of our town. So I hope that this little segment was helpful. So let's just review. We learned a little bit more about the city clerk, the Parks and Rec department, as well as the public library. But I encourage you to still read TCI because there's more details than I just went over. And I hope you enjoyed. See you soon. Bye-bye.